Exactly where we're going next, guys. Our Guardians topic today is brought to us by FanDuel. The NFL season's here. Baseball playoffs are getting ready to get started, and FanDuel is making sure you're ready for kickoff or first pitch with the can't-miss offer. Right now, new customers can bet just $5, and if that bet wins, you get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. So if you're ready to play, make sure you download the FanDuel app right now by visiting FanDuel.com/UCSS to get started. That is FanDuel.com/UCSS to place your first $5 bet. Guys, the Guardians take on the Detroit Tigers tomorrow at home. Skubal on the mound for Detroit. It is a one-game lead in the AL Central currently. The Guardians, if the season ended today, would be the third and final wildcard team in the AL. It has all come down to this. One game back, a one-game lead, or technically they're tied with Houston.
They're tied. They have the tiebreaker, so
with
that's
the
why they'd be in.
With so
the
it's a one-game lead.
Yes.
Yeah.
And this is what you could ask for,
guys. This is unbelievable.
It's incredible.
Guys, the Reds are likely going to get in, too.
Well, they got a chance. I don't know if
they
likely.
got a nice chance. They got about like the Guardians.
I got to tell you, guys, this is the Guardians were 15 and a half games out of first place. Even a week ago, I didn't think there was any chance that they were going to win this division. And now they got a good shot. They got a good shot of making the playoffs. Now, it's far from a sure thing. Their 6 games are against Detroit and Texas, so it's not going to be easy. But neither of those teams is playing well. Detroit has completely imploded.
Yeah.
Detroit could possibly not make the playoffs.
Yes, it's very possible.
Definitely.
If they don't get their heads out of nowhere, they will miss.
The Guardians, if they win 2 out of 3 against the Tigers, will be tied with the Tigers and have the tiebreaker. They are playing. Obviously, yesterday was disappointing because you've been on such a roll.
I know.
They'd won. What did they won? 11 in a row before yesterday.
Yeah,
10.
11,
I thought it was
12.
10. I thought it was 10.
I
don't know.
Anyway, the Guardians had won 10 in a row. They were up 2-0 early, and it kind of fell apart after that. But the Tigers lost again. The Red Sox lost again. The Astros lost again, and the Guardians control their own destiny.
Do we have the tiebreak right now, even on the Tigers, right? They would have to
sweep. They would have to
sweep us.
I don't know if the Tigers win 2 out of 3. I don't know what the tiebreaker is, but if the Tigers win 2 out of 3, the Guardians are probably not going to win the division anyway. Because
they could if we sweep Texas and Detroit loses their last 3.
But I don't know what happens if they end up tied, because if the Tigers win 2 out of 3, then I believe the season series would be split. What?
No. Right now I think it's 6-4 Guardians.
Oh, that's right. The Tigers would have to win all 3.
So if we win 1,
then
we own the tiebreaker, which is
true.
massive.
That's right. This would be if the Guardians win this series with the Tigers, they're probably going to win the division.
I agree with that.
Which is,
that's crazy,
guys.
It's the biggest collapse ever.
They're going to be one of the. If they make the playoffs, it may be the worst offensive team ever to make the playoffs.
It would be.
Yeah.
Yeah, their average is 225.
I think
crazy.
Right
now the lowest average.
It's not. I know some. Bo Naylor's played well here down the stretch.
Well, he's been awesome the last 3 weeks.
But for the most part, outside of the guys who are having good seasons like Ramirez and
Kwan.
Kwan's had an okay season.
Yeah,
but
Manzardo
is who I was thinking of. It's been. Nobody else is contributing offensively, but the pitching has been so good. So excellent across the board in the rotation. Everybody's pitching well. The bullpen, everybody's doing well. I kind of wish they had Shane Bieber, even though they don't really need him. I wish they had him at the moment. Certainly wish they had a couple more bats.
7-man rotation, Bull?
What's that?
Could I interest you in a 7-man rotation with Shane Bieber?
Yeah, well, it'd be interesting to see. But this is crazy. I think they're going to make the playoffs now.
Bieber's been okay. I think his ERA is just under 4.
He had one bad start.
He did. He got hit around.
Yeah, but his other starts have all been excellent.
He's been pretty good. He's been
Bieber-like.
I'd still rather
for him to have an ERA at 4 is it looks odd to me.
As good as the Guardians pitching has been, I'd take him over any of their players in this postseason.
Well, and because of the experience.
Yeah, right. Exactly. That's a big part of it. So
this would be. You already mentioned it, but it would literally be factually the biggest comeback in Major League Baseball history.
It's just incredible.
At 15 and a half games.
Incredible.
And the thing is, we all go back to that 15 and a half games, but there was another stretch where the Tigers got it up to 11.
Again,
and we were like, and it was much later in the season.
Because it was down to 7 or 6, and then it built back up to 11
and
again.
And at that point, it was another shovel of dirt on the coffin. But
Yeah.
at that point, you're thinking, because it's as late as it was in the season when it was 11 games, now you're just thinking, okay, let's get the wild card. What's been amazing to me is they have done it for the most part without Ramirez, and Manzardo's had some big moments, but they had a stretch of games, 4 out of 5, where when you looked at their offensive stars, it wasn't the regulars.
Right.
Bo Naylor had all the RBI in a
Bo was
4-3
awesome
win
this weekend.
over the White Sox. Bo was great again this weekend.
Yeah, he's
Arias
been really
has had
good.
his moments.
Arias has been good.
yeah.
It's weird. Rocchio's been in a big slump here recently after kind of figuring it out for a while. He is such a streaky player.
They've just gotten moments from guys here and there, just enough. They're getting just enough offense. A tremendous. I mean, this makes no sense, but it's so much fun. And I don't even want to listen. Nothing changes to me with how poor job they've done with the offense, but I don't want to talk about it right now. I only want to talk about the fact that this team is on a roll.
There'll be time
They
for
have
that.
a good chance to make the playoffs, and even if it ends with a whimper in the postseason, as I know some people are worried about, and I get it, I'm one of those people. Let's see. I mean, they could end up getting a bye in the first round.
I need you on the record.
They could.
Are they beating the Tigers? Are they taking 2 or 3?
I'm saying the Guardians are going to win the division.
I am too.
Right now.
I-
And 2 weeks ago, I would have laughed at anybody who said it, and now 2 weeks later, I'm saying they win the
Jason
division.
ain't said nothing yet.
I don't want to kill the mojo, so I'll say yes. I'll say yes. They
Hey
win
man,
the
I don't know.
Keep it real. Keep it real.
I want Jason Lloyd. I want Spicy Lloyd. Like it's okay to say they ain't gonna do it. What's holding you back?
Because
What's the operating purpose?
I've just seen Cleveland too many times to where they get right there, they're so hot, and then the last week it's like, oh man. But the Detroit's a mess right now. Their pitching's a mess. The bench is a mess. So I do think that they win the division.
You know what's I don't know if you're thinking about this too, but here's my apprehension to saying they're going to win the division, even though I think now they are. It's really difficult to have two things happen. Their mojo has to continue one more week, the Guardians.
Yeah.
It's really tough to get that mojo for 2 weeks. They've had it.
Yeah.
On the flip side of that, the Tigers' bad mojo has to continue for another week because they have been an absolute shell of themselves really for the entire month of September.
Who are they playing? Who are the Tigers playing after the Guardians, Mike?
Twins?
You know?
I can tell you right
Yeah,
now.
yeah, yeah.
I looked and I
Second.
can't remember
Now,
that.
Texas
Tigers-
is not playing well now either. They've fallen apart.
They have. And then they're pretty much done.
Tigers finished the
So-
season at Boston.
Beautiful for us.
And their bullpen's a mess. Their pitching in general behind Skubal.
Have you been following what their fan base?
they're
wants?
losing
the
their
papers
minds.
is
Talk
going
about,
crazy.
Oh my God!
I don't blame them.
I don't blame them either.
Yeah.
But like,
They've got a loaded farm system. They did hardly anything at the trade deadline, and they've got one more year.
Can you imagine if they don't
this year?
Skubal's got
Isn't
1
it
year of
funny?
control, and then that's it.
Yeah.
Last year, the Tigers were sellers at the deadline.
Yeah.
Everybody thought they were dead. They made this great run into the playoffs.
Yeah.
This year, they're the best team in the American League for almost the whole season. They might not even make the playoffs.
If they don't,
Because if the
I feel
if
sorry
the
for
Guardians
the
think
Detroit
about
front
this,
office.
if the Guardians win the series here, right?
Yeah.
And win the division, okay, now you're down to Houston, Detroit,
well, they
and Boston.
play Boston. Like if
Right,
Boston,
that could be for the final wild card
and
spot.
would you want to go into Boston battling
No.
the Red Sox for a wild card
No.
spot at Fenway?
Absolutely not.
Man, this would just be an absolute
my
epic
God.
collapse. Not just to not win the division.
Nasty
There
word.
was at one point I remember looking. They had a 100% chance to make the playoffs.
You know-
It wasn't 99.9. It said 100.
You know what this reminds me of, even though I wasn't alive for it? The 1969 Mets.
Yeah, the amazing Mets.
You know what the Mets did that year? They
won the World Series.
Won the World Series.
Well, who was
right.
it?
The Cubs that blew the
No.
division. The Cubs had a huge lead.
That was back in the days of two divisions.
There was no.
Two teams made the playoffs from each league.
What?
That was
right.
it.
I thought it was on our chat thread. The drunk Bill Nye guy picked the Guardians to win it. Wasn't that on our
Why,
thread?
yeah, why was he? Why
I
was
don't
people
know.
saying he was drunk?
Oh, he looked,
Bill Nye, the science guy, man. He don't get drunk.
he looked
Bill.
Bill Nye picked the Guardians to win the World Series before the season.
That's insane.
I want you to put some money on that.
I don't know.
Hey, McNuggets, how much money would you have gotten if you would have put money down when they were down 15?
God.
When they were
Oh,
down
down
15.
15? Oh.
When they was down
They were.
15.
They were probably 20,000 to 1 to win the division or
You
something.
guys,
no, it wouldn't have been that much.
When they were up
15 and a
15
half-
games.
Not 20,000.
no, not 20,000, but they would have been in the thousands to one.
Yeah, maybe. All right, I'll have to find out.
I have something I call compensation, like consolation compensation is what I have some buddies that, well, whenever it looks like good things are going to happen for us, we'll bet against them. That way, if they
Right,
lose,
right,
we
yeah.
get compensated. I have a friend who, when the Tigers had that huge lead, took a bet, a pretty big bet, on the Tigers not winning the division. And now I texted him last week and I said, it looks like your consolation compensation might be pretty healthy because it's, I think it was, and I've got the text, I'll have to dig it out. It was incredible odds that they were, they were heavy favorites to win the division.
And the interesting thing, and ultimately the Guardian, probably their bad lineup will catch up with them in the postseason. But
Oh, it will.
baseball is completely wide open this year. There is, to me, especially in the American League. Who's the favorite? I know Seattle's playing great, but their starting rotation has
2
been
weeks ago,
spotty
they couldn't
this
get
year.
out of their own way.
I would take Seattle still. I picked them after the
I
trade
said
deadline.
after the deadline, I think
Toronto's got a bad
Seattle's got it.
bullpen.
Everybody has weaknesses. Unfortunately, ours is offense. However, when you look historically, you got to score, obviously, to win.
Yeah.
But great pitching, especially pitching depth like we have, can win you a series.
The only thing is I don't know that the Guardians have enough great pitching. You say great pitching. They have good pitching.
Well, by today's standards, the fact that they have 6 starters, like, who do you not feel comfortable rolling out there? I would have
In the
said maybe
postseason?
Logan
In the
Allen.
postseason?
Logan Allen.
I don't
for
really-
Yeah,
sure.
but I mean, Logan Allen went out there the other night, and
Logan
care.
Allen's not starting in the postseason.
no,
chance.
probably wouldn't. But
Yeah.
what I'm saying is, if you're in a pennant race, you've got. It takes onions to put 6 different guys out there.
Yeah, they're not-
And
they're
every
not
time
doing
they do it, I'm like, you know what? I'm okay. Whether it's Ciccone
Yeah, I
or
just think, listen, they're all pitching well right now. None of them have ever done anything in the postseason.
no. Well,
I mean, can you even count Tanner Bybee in the playoffs?
no.
I mean,
He's starting in playoff.
I mean, he's
for
yes,
sure.
he has
but,
to.
But do you trust, like, oh, he about to come out here and lock
No,
this down?
no.
Like, it's like, nah.
I don't know how you can.
I don't trust any of them
No,
for
how
sure
can
in
you
the
say
playoffs.
Gavin Williams is going to lock a team down?
I
in the
trust him
playoffs?
the most of them all, but they might all go pitch well in the playoffs. But
Like, we're getting a little bit ahead of ourselves,
Yeah.
but like, I mean, last year we know that they just rode Gaddis, Cade Smith, and Clase until the wheels fell off.
and now it's just Cade Smith.
Now it's just Cade. I mean, Gaddis is
Gaddis
still
is.
there.
I feel pretty comfortable
Right.
with Gaddis.
But so now what's your formula? Because it has to be the pitching. So are you taking Ciccone and putting him in the bullpen and trying to get an inning out of him every single game?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Use
it's going
him
to
as
be
a bridge.
it's going to be
can
different
they,
than
now,
what
can
it
they
was
do?
last
Can
year.
the starting pitcher? What? Can they
Because-
do that?
sure.
I mean, is health wise? Like, is he effective? Like,
Yeah,
just-
yeah, you
I
can do
think
that. You'd like to have a runway into
think
it. You wouldn't like
maybe
to just flip a
Messick's
switch and
pitching out
do
of
it.
the pen.
in
I
the
think
playoffs.
Messick's out of the pen. I think your starters,
I think Ciccone's going to be the third starter.
Gavin, Tanner.
Ciccone
I guess
and
Ciccone.
Cantillo.
I think Cantillo might go to the bullpen.
He's
Got the experience.
Has
He's got
Logan
the
Allen
experience.
wouldn't be good as a reliever.
Logan Allen's
Some of
not
the
a
stuff.
starter. I don't think.
No. But
I don't think.
If they're going to use a fourth starter, it's got to either be Messick or Cantillo probably in the playoffs.
I think aren't they moving Messick up a day to get the last start against Detroit? I feel like he's out of
I think
rotation.
they moved everybody up. I don't know.
Who got skipped?
I don't know.
Because
Well,
it
no, they
feels
they moved everybody up last week.
They
to
did it
set
last
this
week,
up.
yeah, so Bobby could get in.
Look at that.
But we got 2 great
Yeah,
pitchers.
but
I mean,
Messick, they're out of the 6-man rotation now.
Yeah.
I
So is
like
Cantillo out
our
of it?
chances there. I mean, Flaherty's decent, but he's beatable.
I really like Cantillo long term. I just think because he's got the bullpen experience, I think he would go back to the bullpen.
Man,
Cantillo's at that changeup of his is
I mean, he is
plus,
such
plus.
a student of the game, and he is.
I've always
Every
been
time they
bullish
sent
on
him down,
I
he's
love him.
learned and gotten better.
Yes.
I'm bullish on.
Yes.
I've told Meisel
Yeah.
I really like Cantillo.
But Bull, to your point earlier, at some point, man, Hosey's got to be Hosey.
Right.
He,
That's
he's
the
the
yeah,
vertebrae
but
of
you know
this
what?
team, and the
We
fact
didn't-
that they're doing it without a ton of power production from him,
Yeah.
has been remarkable to me.
I got to say, we didn't. However this ends up, we did not expect to have meaningful September baseball. I know
No,
I didn't
at all.
expect it.
No, and
So
it's going
this
to go
is
down
fun
to the last
watch.
day. No
For
matter
those
what
who are
happens.
interested in such things, let me promote for a minute. Tomorrow morning, 8 a.m., the Ultimate Cleveland Guardian show. Tomorrow after the game, I'll be doing a live podcast reacting in the bullpen podcast.
Post-game, huh?
I'm doing a post-game show
Nice.
after Guardians Tigers tomorrow. I will do another post-game show after Guardians Tigers
How do
Wednesday.
those do? Do those do numbers or not?
They did for the playoffs last year.
Yeah. Boy, I hope we sell. We're not going to sell them out. We better have better crowds than we had last. Our last homestand, we had 15,000.
I can't blame people. The team's been bad for most of the year,
but they were in it then.
But now they're really in it.
Well, they were in it then.
They show up.
The crowds will be. I think the crowds will be good.
Well, the crowds will be there for the
crowds will be
playoffs,
there
but it feels like the Braves in the '90s. They got to the point where they're like, yeah, wake me up in the LCS. Wake me up in the World Series.
This team's not anywhere near what that Braves.
No, but the fatigue, the fan fatigue, reminds me of that.
But I think we'll see. I think the 6 games this week, especially these 3 with the Tigers.
I'd say 20,000 every night.
Yeah.
They'll be
That's
20,000.
That's even better than that.
The Colorado Rockies put 40,000 butts in seats every night, and they lose 100 games.
No, they're still doing that?
Check where the Rockies are in attendance.
I don't know.
Look them up.
Go ahead, Mike.
What's the capacity at Jacobs Field now? It's not that
35?
high.
It's 35, but 20,000?
I'd say 20 and 25. That's a good crowd for September.
It's a horrible
Colorado
crowd.
is way higher in attendance than I thought they'd be.
Oh, listen, that Denver's a baseball town.
That must be tickets sold, though.
No,
because
they show up.
You also have
those fans show up for games.
Why they would show up for games?
You know why? Because they've mastered the art of making a ball game a night out. Like, and I give
that
Cleveland
team's the
credit.
worst team
Cleveland's
in baseball.
I know, but the fans show up.
The season ticket base is what usually drives your attendance figures. You're not going to have walk-up crowds of 20,000 usually, especially in the fall on school nights. And I get it. Like,
consider where we are. These are playoff games.
All right, well, let's see where they are before we criticize people.
Yeah,
I'll say
my hope
20
is,
to 25.
My fear is we'll be in the 20,000 range.
I'd say 20 to 25.
My expectation is you're in a pennant race, and
I
for
hope
all
they
intents
sell
and
out.
purposes, these are playoff games against your geographic rival, against the team that you have to beat to make it to the playoffs. You better look at these as playoff games. Getting playoff tickets might be hard. If you want to go see fun, exciting, meaningful baseball in fall crisp weather, this is your chance.
I hope they sell out all 3.
Again, join me live after the game Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I'll be in the Bullpen podcast and Ultimate Cleveland Guardian shows Tuesday morning and Friday morning at 8 a.m. with Zach
Over
Meisel.
under 65,000 for the 3 games for the Tigers on attendance.
I'm going over.
Over. I'll take the over.
Better be over.
I'm taking the over because I'm an optimist, but
I'll take the over on that.
Real quick, and I mean real quick,
3
because we
worst
have
days
a
of the week
record
to do
number of
it.
super chats today. So we're going to get to those in 1 sec. But 3 games against the Tigers. How many of the Guardians win? Around the horn real quick.
2.
2.
2.
Yep.
2.
3-game sweep, baby.
There we go. Love
Well, if
the
they do, they're in the
enthusiasm, Bo.
playoffs, and that Rangers series likely, won't even mean anything.
No, they wouldn't clinch with a 3-game sweep.
All they have to do is beat Texas 1 game, and they'd win the division.
Yes.
So their magic number to win the division is 4.